Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show, a place of inspiration, education, and hope for a healthier, more compassionate, and sustainable world. As an introduction, for those of you who are new to this program, who have been curious about my background, I'm kind of an out-of-the-box psychologist, and I enjoy using food and other unconventional tools to promote kindness, hope, and sustainable living. On this program, I invite inspirational guests like we have on today, as well as leaders in the fields of health and the environment to share their knowledge, experiences, and wisdom with you. To make a donation to support the continuance of this program, or if you have products or services you would like to share with my wonderful audience of over 63,000 monthly listeners as a sponsor or advertiser, go to the TheresaNicassio.com website and click on the Donate button at the bottom of the page, or you can message me directly. My website is TheresaNicassio.com. That's Theresa with an H, and it's Theresa, Nicassio with an N like Nancy, I-C-A, two S's like Sam, so SSIO.com. And the email, it's just the same. It's Theresa at TheresaNicassio.com. Be sure to join us next week when Dr. Lauren Brown will be with us talking about the role of food in fertility. Then in 2 weeks, we'll have the Power of Food author, Adam Hart, with us. He's going to be talking about stress and performance, empowering you with ways that you can, what he calls biohack the workplace. If you have questions for any of my upcoming guests, be sure to send them to me through my TheresaNicassio.com website, or you can email me as well. Again, my website is Theresa, TheresaNicassio.com, and my email is Theresa at TheresaNicassio.com. Today's kind of an extra special day. We're doing something a little different. We'll be breaking the mold with three great guests who are going to all be talking about transcending life situations that seem impossible to overcome. Despite living with her very difficult disability and having hundreds of fractures, our first guest, Monica Gartner, has courageously demonstrated the power of the human spirit and persistence. Monica is the author of the newly released book called Overcoming the Impossible, A Life of Trials and Triumphs, where she shares the challenges of growing up with a genetic bone disease called Osteogenesis Imperfecta. You can find out more about her book. You can go to the website, TheresaNicassio.com, and the link for purchasing it that goes to her website is right there. But I'd like to just say that Monica's book, this is a very, very special book, and she's going to be talking more about it today as well. And a nice quote I really like from Monica is, that gets you a little bit of the spirit of this beautiful woman, is, quote, being disabled is a state of mind, not a state of being. You are only limited by your lack of imagination, end quote. So that gives us a little bit of a nice intro. Then, Monica, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. This is a very unusual, it must be quite a rare bone condition. Can you talk a little bit about what your disability is and how it affects your life?
Sure. So basically it's about 1 in 120,000 births. And when I was born, they thought there was only 2 major kinds. One of them you would live and the other one you would die. And they thought because I had such a severe form of osteogenesis imperfecta, or OI as we like to call it for short. No pun intended, because I'm 3 feet 1.5 inches tall.
Pardon? What did you say?
Sorry?
What did you say about inches tall?
3 feet 1.5 inches tall.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. So what it was, when a baby is born, the bones are not fully formed, and so they break. When they break, you have internal hemorrhaging. So what they thought is that I would bleed to death. So they thought I had the fatal kind, that I wouldn't live past 1 year old. But then, due to the care and strength of my parents and their faith in God, and I managed to live beyond quite a bit that number. So, and so my daily life is sometimes challenging. I've had to have many surgeries over the years, especially when I was a child, because when my bones would break, they wanted to make sure that the bone would be straight, so they would set it and they would put stainless steel metal rods inside the bone marrow if the bone was thick enough, and in some cases the bone was so thin they couldn't put it inside the bone marrow. They had to put it alongside the bone. And unfortunately, sometimes the bone would reject the stainless steel metal rod, and then the body would have a way of trying to push it out. And it would come out of my elbow or out of my ankle. That wasn't very pleasant, but anyway, these things happen. And then as I got older, the bones started to get harder, especially when I went through the change as a teenager. And so that was great. But it also affects connective tissue as well. So my joints, some of them are really double-jointed, kind of loose. And it affects your eyes. Most people who have the disease have glasses on. It affects your teeth. So my teeth are brittle as well because they're made out of bone. So thankfully I have most of mine. And I've had to have, crowns put on or some sort of dental work put on it. You can have lung problems because especially you're very susceptible to bronchitis or pneumonia because of the chest is more like a barrel chest. So it can be problematic when you have bronchitis or pneumonia. It's hard to cough, the phlegm up. And so you can have various challenges. And then there's the social challenges as well, being accepted in society, having relationships, school, high school, getting work, and you're faced with multiple challenges. But the way I figure is everybody has some sort of challenge. This just happens to be mine. And you might have a challenge, but it could be something totally different. Yeah.
Well, it's always different when your challenges are visible to the outer world versus invisible to the outer world.
Yes.
And so, you're talking about relationships. What was that like growing up? Because did you go through regular schools then?
Yes. Well, originally, no. First of all, the doctors told me I needed to go to a special school, quote unquote. And I did that, and then my parents realized I was not being taught properly. I never had any homework, and they thought for sure I'd have homework because I can't write as quickly as the other kids. And they said, oh, well, if she doesn't learn it today, she'll learn tomorrow. And then they discovered that I was actually placed in a class with developmentally challenged children as well as physically challenged. And, of course, today that would never happen because we know children with physical challenges learn just as good as any other able-bodied child. And so, therefore, they removed me from that, and then I went into a regular school system. And some children were lovely and were nice, and then there were the others that were not so nice. And I got, back then we called it teasing, but now we would call that bullying. And so I was bullied verbally, usually. So it was unfortunate. Wow. But, my parents were really great about it. They understood, and they let me explain what happened in school, and sometimes I would get upset and cry, of course, and then my parents would offer me a word of encouragement and explain to me, the kids don't understand. You have to explain it to them. You have to be their teacher, in a way, and explain to the kids why you can't do what you can do. And they taught me really not to be angry with them because they just don't understand. And so that's helped me along the way. Yeah.
So you were gifted with amazing parents, it sounds like. They must be so proud of you. They are. My father has since passed away, but my mother is still with us, which is great. And she's very excited and very happy that I wrote the book. It was actually my father that encouraged me to write the book. I was going to ask you. I thought that you'd said that your dad had suggested you write the book. How long ago did he suggest that?
Oh, he suggested that probably over 20 years ago, and I thought, oh, wow, who's going to read the book? You know, maybe a few people, but do people really want to read about my life? And then I travel to work. We have a sky train. It's like a train that goes above the ground, and the bus, and you know, wherever I meet people and I happen to have a little conversation, they would say to me, oh, maybe you should write a book. And I thought, oh, wow, everybody keeps telling me this. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to write a book. So I started writing the book, and about the end of 2000s, the end of 1990s. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately, my father passed away. And he was my main cheerleader. And so I kind of retreated for a while, and I let the book go, and I didn't write for several years. Instead, I went back to school and finished my degree.
And what did you get your degree in?
Business management. A bachelor's degree of science in business management. From the University of Phoenix. So they have a satellite campus, and they set up campus here in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I managed to work during the day and then go to school at night. Wow. And when I did that, I would drive my van, because I have a van all set up for me, and then I would do that. Then, after my degree was finished, I thought, okay, what am I going to do now? It's not enough just to work and have fun on the weekends. I wanted to do something. I'm always wanting to do something. So then I thought, okay, maybe now is a good time to write my book. So it took me 7 years to complete the book, because life happens in between. I was really pleased and quite happy when the book was completed.
Right. Okay, folks, as you're listening, you're hearing Monica. So first of all, Monica, how old are you now?
Well, I am.
You gotta love her laugh, by the way, guys. No, okay, so I have to say, so those of you listening, Monica was just telling me the other day she has a dream of being a voice. What was it? A voice in like a cartoon?
A cartoon voiceover.
Okay, so
all these different voices inside.
Yeah, so those of you who are listening, I want you to hear it, and the more you hear her laugh, everybody's gonna want to grab this woman. So I want you to know that you can find out how to contact her from my website, because you're gonna want her as your voiceover. She's amazing. Anyway, so how old are you now?
So I'm 51, apparently.
51, apparently. You made a far cry of further than one, huh? And just so those of you who are listening, and she's talking about driving her van and going to work, getting her degree, tell the audience how tall you are.
3 feet 1.5 inches tall. Don't shortchange me.
How tall are you?
3 feet 1.5 inches.
3 feet 1.5 inches, so not 3 foot 1 inch, not 3 foot 1 1/4, 3 feet 1.5, guys.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Monica is doing everything, this is such a beautiful message. It's part of why the title of your book is Overcoming the Impossible, because people would probably have thought that a lot of things you're doing now, traveling around the world, getting your degree, driving a van. Can you talk a little bit about that? About how people might think certain things, but what you're doing instead.
Oh yeah, well, people don't. They see me in an airport and they think, oh, are you coming to pick somebody up? I'm like, no, I'm here to go on vacation. I've been on several cruises. I've even arranged to have somebody take me around to visit 7 different countries in 3 weeks in Europe. I did a tour that way. Been to Italy, Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, beautiful country, Austria, and I'm planning again to go away in the fall. I'm not exactly sure where yet. And I really enjoy traveling to different countries, meeting different people from all over the world, and then partaking in different types of cultural foods and things, and their artwork. And when you have the opportunity to travel, you realize how similar we are. I mean, there are differences in our cultures, but yet at the same time, our humanity is all the same. We all want the same things no matter where we come from. We want all good health, happiness. We want our children to live pain-free and have a good future. And I think this is a really good thing because, in a way, it promotes peace, too, because you go and realize that the people on the other side of the world are people just like you. Mm-hmm. And, of course, people raise eyebrows when they see someone like myself, but then I just put my best foot forward, so to speak, or wheel, and I smile, and I just carry on like as if, I don't really think of myself as a person with a disability.
Well,
I think of myself as a person.
Yeah, you're a person.
Yeah, I'm a person, and, my mode of transportation happens to be a little bit different than the average person, but that's okay.
And what do you call it? Your sexy little hot rod chair, or how do you call that? I saw you talk about that once.
My hot rod chair. It's maybe hot rod, and I go down the sidewalk at 7.9 on the Richter scale sometimes, I call it. In other words, I go pretty fast.
That's so great. And so, with regard to this traveling thing, isn't that what inspired you to, there's like a nonprofit you started. Can you share a little bit about your nonprofit?
Yeah, so what happened is, when I was younger, my parents were lovely in that they took me traveling with them. Growing up, there were some kids with disabilities where their parents would put them in a home or in a long-term care facility while they went on vacation. Well, my parents said, we have none of that. You're a child, and wherever we go, you're coming with us. Nice. So my parents were quite forward-thinking. And what happened is I remember we were going down memory lane. As most parents do, they take kids where they met and that sort of thing. And we were in Toronto, Ontario, and we had to fly from Vancouver to Ontario. And Vancouver had no problem letting us board the plane, nothing. They did have to take the battery pack off and put it in a special compartment and seal it, because back then the batteries were wet cell. I said that backwards. So back then the batteries were wet cell, so they had acid in them, and if they sold, it could eat through carpet and wire, and of course you don't want the plane to come crashing down.
Yep.
So then what happened is, now coming back home from Toronto to Vancouver, they freaked out. The Toronto airport, they said, no, we're not going to let this, they can take the wheelchair, but the battery had to stay. And as the gentleman was walking with us to an elevator, he said, all my life, I've never seen anybody, and he said, I've been working for 30 years, I've never seen anybody in a wheelchair travel before. And I thought to myself, I was just a young kid at the time, and I thought, well, get used to it, because it's about to happen.
Good for you.
So as my parents got older, I know they couldn't no longer take me on vacation. They couldn't take themselves anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's when some friends and I got together over dinners and lunches on the weekends, and we talked about our favorite subject, which was traveling. Mm-hmm. And I thought, there's got to be a way we can create a nonprofit organization to help people with disabilities that would like to travel that need an attendant. And so that's how it came about. And what we do is we raise the money, not for the person with a disability, because if you have a disability or not, you still need to buy a ticket to get on that plane or train or what have you. Mm-hmm. But if you didn't have a disability, you wouldn't have the extra financial burden of taking an attendant with you. So what I've done is we created that to pay for the attendant's travel expenses.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the information about this, the nonprofit, if you're out there and like to learn more about it, the link for Monica's website is right on my website. And Monica, real quick, your website again is called?
My personal website is monicagartner.ca, and the nonprofit is the Canadian Assisted Travel Society.
The Canadian Assisted Travel Society, and I think that's on my website, but if not, Monica, go ahead and send it to me, and I will add it to your website. But anyway, we need to take it. I want to thank you, Monica, for joining us today. We need to take a short break now. After the break, we have another inspiring guest whose life journey transformed from victimhood, addiction, and crime into service, kindness, and love. Again, thank you, Monica.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Theresa Nicassio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Theresa Nicassio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Theresa Nicassio as a speaker for your group, visit yumfoodforliving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
For all your live or pre-recorded webcasting needs, come to earthchannel.com. Get your web-based message out to a select group or the whole world. It's easy. A pioneer in webcasting, earthchannel.com provides the best products and services to big corporations and government users. And now the same technology is available to you. They have the best Earthcast encoders, servers, and products to meet your technical needs. But wait, don't want to mess with technical stress? No problem. They'll do it for you. EarthChannel.com is your answer. You can use webcasting for lots of things like advertising, marketing, customer support, training, and don't forget web radio and TV. In fact, you're listening to a live Earthcast right now. So come to EarthChannel.com. Actualize your audio or video webcasting needs today. You can't beat the friendly service or the price. Call earthchannel.com at 1-800-849-8978. That's 1-800-849-8978.
Yumfoodforliving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit yumfoodforliving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of yum. Don't wait. Visit yumfoodforliving.com. Yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net, the radio network that brings positive talk with positive change to make your world a little better.
Welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. For those of you who are just joining us, on today's show we've been talking about transcending life situations that seem impossible to overcome. Our next guest, Daniel Rodriguez, is a storyteller, and I like to think of him as the embodiment of hope and service, whose early life was engulfed in poverty and verbal, sexual, and physical abuse. After almost dying in a tragic accident and his future dreams shattered, Daniel's life spiraled as he began a life of self-medication through alcohol and drug addiction and crime that lasted almost 20 years. His life became a disaster with more than 25 arrests, as well as multiple prison stays in both the U.S. and Mexico, and several brushes with death from shootings and rollover car accidents. Unsuccessful attempts to turn his life around, including going to 6 different treatment centers, Daniel eventually found himself in the hospital overdosed. Against all odds, this courageous man transformed his life and is now clean and sober and has become a role model and a wonderful leader in the community, living a healthy life full of kindness and service. He's become an Ironman triathlete and coaches others to run as part of the Run to Remember and the Gold Star Race program. Blessed by the belief in him through the darkest of his days, Daniel now offers the same gifts to others who are facing what feel like impossible tasks of turning their lives around, even after being immersed in the world of addiction and crime. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, absolutely. It's an honor to be on your show.
Yeah. Can you share with our listeners, Daniel, a little bit of the story about your wake-up call that changed your life?
Yeah, so I struggled with addiction from the age of 12 to 32 years old. And on September 22nd, 2010, I was in a house all by myself. My wife had just divorced me at the time. One of my best friends had just passed away. I lost my job, my car. I basically had a bag of clothes, and I was in this house all by myself. 2 a.m., I was looking in the mirror with the light on, the only light on in the house, and my body was black and blue from the heroin needles. And I looked at myself, and I began to cry. And that was the point that I got on my knees, and I said a prayer, and I asked God to take addiction away from me, because I knew that if it wasn't gone, I was going to die. Mm-hmm. I went to bed. I woke up that next morning, and I've never craved one time since that day. Wow. That was 7 years ago, huh? Yes. Wow. So how did you move forward? It's like a new slate, a whole different life for you after 20 years of, and even more of the years of hard days, but 20 years of the addiction. And how did you move forward, Daniel? Well, I was blessed with a couple men in my life immediately. One, a mentor of mine, Eddie Dizon. We used to meet up at Starbucks a couple of times a week, and he kind of coached me through life. I didn't know what I was doing clearly for all those years of my life. Even at 32, I needed guidance. And Eddie believed in me, and he saw something in me that I didn't see. And we continued to meet, and I still talk to him on a regular basis. He FaceTimed me yesterday. I was unable to answer the call, but we still communicate regularly. And I also found a job at an auto body shop by another courageous man that took me in and saw something that he believed in me as well, and he gave me an opportunity to come work for him at his shop. It was one of the top auto body shops in the state, still is today. Wow. And he believed in me and gave me this opportunity, and after being there for 3 years, I was managing one of the top shops in the state from basically nothing. So, wow, that's incredible. Yeah. What did it mean for you to have people believe in the goodness in you and see that even when you didn't see it in yourself, Daniel? It actually took me a long time to even realize that these guys believed in me. I didn't see it in the beginning, but after years of continually meeting with them, meeting with Eddie, working for Kurt, it finally dawned on me, once I started mentoring people, that, man, I believe in these people, and that's what these guys saw in me, and they wanted to see me live. They gave me an opportunity to stand by my side and allow them to speak into my life on a regular basis. And, my heart was open, my mind was open as I tried to control the way that I lived for a long time. And you can see where my own results got me. Yeah. Well, I just love this. I love this story. And for those of you who are listening, I'm sure that many of you have been touched by beautiful people who, really had a rough time and got on the kind of the wrong trajectory and got kind of lost. And to know how much it means to believe in someone, to be believed in, is one of the greatest gifts we can give. So how is it that you're now offering that same gift to others, Daniel? Can you talk a little bit about that? Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that Eddie taught me from about the first year after I kind of got back on my feet a little bit, got my job, he taught me how to serve others. And that's probably the one thing today that it's number one to me, is to be able to offer what I've been through to other people, to give people a strength and a hope. Because these days there's so much negativity in this world, and I want to be the opposite of that. I want to live every day, believe in people where they're at, love them where they're at, because so many of us go through struggles every single day, and it's kind of hard to see the light sometimes. So I just want to be the light and the encourager in people's life more than anything. That's so nice. And, I was just listening to Wayne Dyer the other day, and he was talking, he's no longer with us, but a video of his. And, he was talking about some of the research around kindness
and how when we're treated with kindness, how the serotonin, which is kind of that feel-good neurochemical, and our immune system, those numbers go up when we receive it. But the other thing that is so beautiful is that when you are the one who is doing the kind act, your own serotonin and immune system is boosted. And if you're someone witnessing the kindness, your serotonin and immune system numbers go up too. It's a pretty life-giving thing, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and I think that goes back to one of my favorite quotes. Believing in yourself and others creates a power that's unstoppable. Mm-hmm. And that's how I wake up every day, and that's how I want to live my life.
That's so great. And what keeps you going now? I mean, you're working hard and you're touching people's lives. You've had your life touched. What keeps you kind of mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy now?
I would say probably the key component to all those things is balance in everything that I do every day. Instead of going all after one thing, but, equally working hard at my day job. I run a handful of days a week. I do speaking engagements, serving others, mentoring people, kind of keeping a balance in all 5 of those things that create a healthy lifestyle for myself.
And so, people find you. It seems like people are finding you and are drawn to your light, kind of like a fly to the light, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, folks, we need to take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back to hear more from Daniel and about his Daniel's story when we return. So stick around.
There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Theresa Nicassio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
What does HealthyLife.net and Amazon.com have in common? Well, they're both available on the Internet. They both give great value. But most important, most of our positive program hosts and guests are accomplished authors, and their books are available from, you got it, Amazon.com. Now, it even gets better than that, because when you're listening on air to a HealthyLife.net host or guest, you can go directly to Amazon.com, and you can order your book while you're still listening to your favorite HealthyLife.net program. So when you hear an author you like, go to the homepage of HealthyLife.net and click on Amazon.com.
When you have a food allergy or dietary limitation, Dr. Theresa Nicassio knows it's hard to give up the foods you love, so she decided to put on her chef hat and give you affordable, personalized culinary consultations that will light up your taste buds. You'll explore substitute ingredients so you can enjoy your favorite foods again. She'll even help you make food preparation easy and guide you on your path to healthy living. And to get started, all you have to do is call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Yumfoodforliving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit Yumfoodforliving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of Yum. Don't wait. Visit Yumfoodforliving.com. Yumfoodforliving.com. That's Yumfoodforliving.com.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. Today we are talking about defying the odds and finding ways to transcend obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Before the break, we started talking with Daniel Rodriguez about his courageous and inspiring journey from addiction and crime to now living a life of service and love.
and as he mentioned, being the light that others are drawn to, and he supports. What a journey this has been, Danny. Given all you've been through, how have you been able to keep such a positive attitude, do you think?
I think that comes daily as a decision, because many people probably view my life and, think that I have this amazing lifestyle, and it's only, and I do, and it's because I create it every morning when I wake up. I do my prayer, I wake up with a positive attitude. Like I tell everybody, when you wake up, you got to look in that mirror and you got to say, today is going to be amazing no matter what. And if you tell yourself that and you start believing in what you're telling yourself, then it creates a great outcome for the day. It actually helps you navigate through tough days, because I have a lot of hard days. People may not think that, but I do.
And in contrast to how your life was before, though, it seems like your life, there's a quality of hope when you can make that decision that you're going to have a good day. There's hope, and I'm just so struck because growing up and with being physically, sexually, emotionally abused, and going through all that you went through, there's something inside of you, Daniel, that knows of the goodness and the possibilities. Has that always been there for you?
No, it definitely has not always been there for me. But I know that the one thing my mom always tells me is to focus on the good and focus on forgiveness. And when you forgive people and you don't set expectations on people, it makes life a lot less complicated. It's when you start setting expectations on people and not forgiving people that it's life is hard, and it's a weight that you have to carry around on a daily basis, and you're the one dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, in terms of speaking about that weight, and there's some people who are carrying a lot of weight with losing their family loved ones in the service. And can you talk a little bit about how you're trying to make a difference through your running and coaching? And
yeah. So I am honored. I met a good friend of mine, Lisa Hallett, who is the founder of Wear Blue, Run to Remember, based out of DuPont, Washington, here right down the road. And I raced an Ironman with her and got connected with her and began to run with her cause and what she was running for. And her husband was killed in southern Afghanistan in 2009, and she began to run in his blue PT physical training shirt. And she slowly created runners and added people, and all of a sudden there's thousands of runners all around the world. So I run in honor of others these days. And I run with an open heart and to be able to connect with these special families. A good friend of mine, Krista Simpson, her husband, Staff Sergeant Michael Simpson, was killed in action 5 years ago. And I run in honor. I connected with her boys and their family. Another friend of mine, Rachel Alizalde Powell, her brother Adrian Alizalde, was killed in action. And these are just, I have a special connection with these men that I run. I can't really explain it, but they talk to me, they speak to me, and it's super powerful. And it's outside of just running and physically doing something for myself. It's giving back and running for others and other people's families.
So the running becomes an act of kindness. It sounds like you were already running before.
Yes.
Were you running during those tough times when you were using heroin and other drugs and drinking a lot?
I've always been a runner, but not so much in the super hard times.
So when do you think that the running really picked up for you?
It definitely picked up as I knew that I needed to do something else to buy up some of my time. And I just started to run. And I remember the first time I ran, I could hardly run a mile after being sober for 30 days, and it hurt bad.
Wow.
And I slowly built up, and now I'm racing Ironmans and running marathons all over the place.
That's just amazing. I am so proud and excited for you.
Thank you.
And when you're coaching a lot of people, helping others with their running. What's that like for you?
It's pretty amazing. I'm an encouragement coach for Wear Blue, and I'm part of a Gold Star athlete program, which Gold Star athletes are first family members of fallen military soldiers. And I have 10 coming in for the Seattle Marathon here in a few weeks, and we kind of encourage them online, fly them in, host them for 5 days. I run the race with them, and it's really just about building strength in people that have lost loved ones. And I have such an amazing, powerful group coming in a few weeks. I'm so excited to meet them all in person because they're from all over the country, Hawaii, Georgia, Texas, California. It's just an amazing program, and I'm so honored to be part of it.
Wow, that's so great. And so, it seems like in your running, you've got a big social kind of a social circle. And, you mentioned something about your fabulous circle of 5. Can you tell us a little bit about your circle of 5?
I sure can. So I've always known that I've lived by since I got sober this time, and even when I look back, you are who you hang around. And I always say that you have to have a strong group of 5 people. And if you look at everybody in life, typically they're all a part of probably the 5 people that they hang around most. So I hang around some amazing men. One of my best buddies, running buddy, partner in crime, Jacob Hall. He's just the guy that encourages me every day in my strengths and my weaknesses. And I do the same from him. Him and I have gone through a lot this last year, and it's so nice to have those people around that are going to lift you up, that are going to be by your side when you're doing well and when you're having a bad day.
Yeah, and you were mentioning that, because you've got to keep yourself up, and then that gives you more to offer to others who are seeking and needing support. And you'd mentioned to me that people have been finding you, is it like on Facebook, or how is it people are finding you to get support, when they're find their way back?
Yeah, it's funny. I got a call yesterday from a buddy of mine that I went to high school with. Hadn't talked to him in 15 years, and he's going through a divorce and addiction. And I told him to call me. He called me right away, and I told him my story, and he couldn't even believe where I was at today. But I just want to be there for people. I want to be encouragement. I'm very open with my story because I want people to be able to reach out, because I want people to believe that they have a chance, and I want families to have hope in their loved ones who are going through this battle of addiction.
Yeah. So people, the contact information is on my TheresaNicassio.com website. Go to the page about overcoming obstacles, and you will overcoming the impossible. Thank you, Daniel, for coming today. It's been great having you share your story.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to get to have a nice chat with you this afternoon.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. So, folks, we got to go to another break. After the break, we have another great guest. We're going to be hearing from an operating room nurse who will talk about important tips to think about if you are considering going abroad for surgery. Stick around, because I'm serious with what this next guest has to offer you might literally save your life or someone you love. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Theresa Nicassio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Theresa Nicassio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Theresa Nicassio as a speaker for your group, visit yumfoodforliving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
If you're like the 8 out of 10 women that say finding jeans that fit is a problem, well, your problem is solved. Lee Jeans has done extensive research, and they have jeans that fit. There's even an online Lee Fit Finder so you can find the right fit for you. Imagine jeans that instantly slim you with a custom fit and no gap waistband. And guys, kids, Lee has jeans for you too. Click through to Lee's Jeans on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and get what fits.
When you have a food allergy or dietary limitation, Dr. Theresa Nicassio knows it's hard to give up the foods you love, so she decided to put on her chef hat and give you affordable, personalized culinary consultations that will light up your taste buds. You'll explore substitute ingredients so you can enjoy your favorite foods again. She'll even help you make food preparation easy and guide you on your path to healthy living. And to get started, all you have to do is call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463. There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book, Yum, by Dr. Theresa Nicassio, is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com. Or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
Radio your way. HealthyLife.net.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show, where we celebrate life, love, and kindness, while also acknowledging the real challenges that are a natural part of living and answer questions that matter to you. Our next guest, Janet Brashear, is a UK-trained registered nurse with specialized training and experience working in the operating room, disinfecting the instruments and equipment that are used for surgery. You may be wondering, why would I have this kind of person on the show? Well, there's a good reason. She's also been actively involved in the education and quality assurance for medical procedures for many years. Patient safety in the operating room was Janet's responsibility, ensuring that patients were safe during every procedure that she participated in. So what's relevant here is that today Janet's going to be talking about what's called medical tourism and the important questions, considerations, preparations, and so forth that you will need if you or someone you love is thinking about seeking surgery abroad, which is becoming more and more relevant, especially with the cost of health care. So thank you so much for joining us today, Janet.
You're welcome. Just to clarify one point, it's the cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization of surgical equipment. All three things have to happen. So.
Okay. All right. So I've been well corrected. Cleaning, disinfecting, and sterilization.
Yeah.
So, Janet, this is going to be even more relevant as we talk. But can we just start with what is it, why is it that you think people are seeking surgery abroad these days?
Well, I think more and more it's in the media, so it's something that's front of mind in a lot of people that might have been thinking about surgery for whatever reason. And although my books were originally meant for Canadian market, I found that more and more people are contacting me from the States and different countries that are seeking surgeries outside or even at home that they're paying for. So it's relevant, whether you're staying at home and paying for surgery or whether you're going abroad. But basically, it's more and more in the media. People are getting more proactive about their surgeries. They don't want to wait a long time. They have the money and the resources, and if they do, then they're looking at how they can get this surgery faster so they're out of pain or whatever they want.
Right. Well, I think that's one side, is people have the money and resources. But I think, isn't it that a lot of times people are also seeking to go abroad because they don't have the money and resources? Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's that kind of catch-22. You have enough money and resources to be able to afford to go abroad to have the surgery, and not to wait for the surgery, that you might not have to pay for due to our healthcare system.
Right. Well, and that's when we're talking Canadian, but in the U.S., people may not have the money or resources to do in the U.S., but might be able to afford it if they can get it.
Definitely, because sometimes they can get a deal where with their travel and accommodation and the surgery and recovery, it's less than they would pay for the surgery in the States.
Yes, exactly. So what are some of the most common procedures that people are going abroad to seek surgery for?
Well, lots of the time it's orthopedic surgeries like joints, knees and hips. There's a lot of bariatric surgery these days where people go for weight loss, also plastic surgeries. People want different procedures done. So they're the top three at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And I think you mentioned about dental surgery as well, is that
definitely.
right?
Dental is a huge thing. There's lots of people in Canada. We've got snowbirds, the seniors that go down south, and then they would go into Mexico and have dental work done while they're down there. Again, because they don't have a dental plan here, and so it's much more economical for them.
And I know I have some friends who work in international schools, and they've talked about how they go to Thailand, or they go to different countries to get get their medical things done, because it's they can get a lot done for a very inexpensive price. But can you talk a little bit about what it might be some of the potential risks and benefits of medical tourism?
Well, the first thing is you're traveling outside, you're traveling to another country, so there's the travel involved. And if you're a nervous traveler to start with, that's one problem. You're going to be stressed because you're going for surgery, and if you don't travel well, you've got the travel involved. There's the air travel, which obviously there's lots of things associated with air travel that can impact your health, like deep vein thrombosis from sitting. The recirculated air can cause respiratory things. When you go to another country, you may or may not speak the language in that country, so there can be language barriers. If you're having treatment there and you don't speak the language, you can't convey what's actually happening to you very well. There's also taken into consideration what does the cost actually cover. There might be some extras and sundries that are put onto your bill, and you can't leave the country until you've paid that bill. So you've really got to pin it down and get it in writing what the cost covers. And then there's the how soon after the surgery can you travel? Because if you're having abdominal surgery, you can't travel until all the gas in your stomach is dispersed. You shouldn't be on an airline with the pressure in the airline. So there's lots of things. People should be asking questions, and they're not questions that would come naturally to someone that was not in healthcare.
Right, and these are some of the questions you outline, and you even have checklists, and she's written three books here. So one is, kind of the big picture, and which is it's been an award-winning book, a bestseller, and then also checklists and real practical things. And by the way, if you go to on the TheresaNicassio.com website, you'll see the link for her website, which is I believe rusafe.ca. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, and but it's RU with the letter U as opposed to the word U. But you can get the direct link there, but you can actually get a free download. She's giving a free gift, and you can just click on the free gift from Janet on a button on that, which has some checklists and such. But there's some very serious things that can happen. I mean, there's some stories that you have, and maybe you could share one. You were talking about this recently. You talk about several stories in the book, but where people may not make it alive because of the lack of the disinfecting, maybe sterilization and cleaning and such of the instruments. Can you just share an example about why this is so important to really give this some serious thought?
Well, again, there's lots. You can get an infection anywhere in the hospital, but it's that attention to detail, having the standards, having the quality assurance within that facility, where this is done every day, just not when the inspectors are coming in. So you need to make sure that the facility have these standards in place and they're followed, and that the staff there are following this all the time, so that you know that when a set of instruments arrived in the operating room, they have been cleaned, disinfected, sterilized, completely, and you're not going to be carrying something from the previous patient into your surgery and into your body. And also that they have the right aseptic procedures when they're doing dressings afterwards, that the rooms that you're in are cleaned regularly, that there's no cross-contamination between, any other patients, or, when you're doing rehab, that everything follows through there. If you're having surgery and there's drains, you want to make sure that the dressings are changed, the drains are emptied, and it's all done to the standard that we expect.
Right. Because you mentioned there was that new mom who went over abroad, and she...
Yeah, it was. I was saying there was a case in the paper in January of a woman that went for bariatric surgery. I think she was about 23, and they removed so much of her stomach that she came back, there was complications, and she's actually having to be tube-fed for the rest of her life now because of the complications from that surgery. So this is not something to be taken lightly. And when you're looking at the websites and the advertising, and they talk about one-day surgery, quick procedures, you really have to investigate what this means. Because, yes, it might be a one-day surgery, but you have to do the preparation beforehand to be ready for that surgery. And you have to realize the life changes that are involved after that surgery, that the surgery will help you make the weight loss that you need and maintain that weight loss. It's not a magic wand. They don't just wave the scalpel over you and suddenly you've lost the weight. There's still the work that you have to do afterwards to maintain that for the rest of your life.
Right, and that bariatric is one of the biggest ones, and I think for a lot of reasons. And then also there's issues around follow-up care, because apparently if you seek care out of the country, sometimes it's hard to get your own physician to do the follow-up.
That's true, because you come back and hopefully you come back and you've got the operation notes and everything that's happened to you, and you have to make sure before you go that someone is actually going to look after you when you come back, because obviously you need follow-up appointments, a month, 6 weeks afterwards, and then, 6 months and a year. And someone here, or whatever country you live in, has to do that follow-up for you. So you need to arrange that before you come back, because no one's going to want to be looking after a surgery that someone else has done, because there's all the legal and insurance ramifications if something's wrong. Did you arrive like that, or was it something they did? So you don't want to get stuck in the middle of a insurance fight like that.
Right. So the books are called Medical Tourism, and you just real quickly just share a little bit about the book series that you have.
So the first book is Medical Tourism, Surgery for Sale, How to Have Surgery Abroad Without It Costing Your Life. And basically the first question it asks is, why are you even considering this? Why are you thinking that you need to travel abroad for surgery? And then once you've said, yes, gone through that, and yes, you decide you want to travel, it goes through and gives you questions that you should ask. The second book is a checklist and a workbook, and the third book is a journal that you can keep notes while you're away.
Yeah, so this is a great resource, folks, and it's extremely, affordable, especially when you think it could cost your life otherwise. Thank you so much, Janet, for coming on the show.
You're very welcome.
And
Thank you very much.
Perfect. And so, folks, be sure to check out the page, again, The Overcoming Obstacles. And it's time for us to wrap the show up. So thank you all for joining us for today's program. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Be sure to join us next week when we'll have Dr. Lauren Brown talking with us about the role of food in fertility. And if you have any questions for any of our upcoming guests, be sure to send them to me. You can push the Ask Theresa button on the website, the TheresaNicassio.com, TheresaNicassio.com. I'm Theresa, and this has been the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. Until next time, have a great week.